Buckle up. You are listening to Musicians and Beyond with Sarabian and Lawhorn, where we bring you the backstage info on the life, lyrics, and long journeys of the music industry. Mark, what a couple of special guests we have in today.
This is going to be fun and right up my alley as far as I'm concerned, as far as prior military service. It's great to have guys in that have been in that fraternity and devoted their lives to making sure our country is safe and secure. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to talk to these guys. But last episode was episode 53, and we had Kirsty Kraus call in from Nashville, Tennessee, and she had just finished up a part of her tour, and she found some time to chat with us, and very interesting.
Very interesting. Grew up in Wisconsin. And we got to give a little shout out to her sister, Kels Marie. And Casey James brought a beautiful baby girl into the world. And Lainey Marie was born, and she was happy to announce that the other day on the show. It was great to hear that. And so we wish her and her family well and congratulate them.
Absolutely. And I appreciate her playing a couple of songs for us. That Something New was a great song. And then Just One More, that's kind of up our alley about sitting in a little bar and having just one more. And
yeah, she was a great guest, incredible talent, brings a lot to the table, and it's nice to see what they're doing with Pickle Jar, and she's got a couple of shows coming up this week down in Nashville, and it's nice to see someone that's going out of their way to help other musicians find a spot and give them another stage to present themselves.
Yeah, that's actually a great segue, Mark, because, a lot of our musicians do things for other people, a lot of charities, a lot of fundraisers. But without a doubt, these guys here that are in studio with us today probably do the biggest thing for those who protect America. And today we have Richard Clark and Kevin Perrinin, and they are from Soldiers, Songs, and Voices. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're really excited to hear about this Soldiers, Songs, and Voices. Tell us what this is all about.
Well, Soldier Songs and Voices it's a nonprofit out of Lockhart, Texas, and it is set up for post-military, post-combat, post-severe stress that you can get in the military to provide military members, retirees, with a guitar, music lessons so they can play it, and songwriting workshops to where they can get their story out.
That's pretty cool.
That's great.
And
very nice.
It really expanded my view, and I was lucky to fall into this in Fayetteville, Arkansas with that chapter. And when I moved away, I went as a nomad and tried to get one going in Florida, and I'd snowbird up here and go back and forth. And then we finally planted here. I firmed up the chapter for Cape Ann.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And, we're talking Maine, we're talking Portland, Oregon, we're talking Texas, Connecticut.
How do you do your outreach?
A lot of it is word of mouth. A lot of it is hand flyers and notices in the VFW. Excellent. Or AMVETS or, organizations. I am exceptionally lucky that I get to do my thing in the Cape Ann Veteran Services building in Gloucester.
Beautiful.
They open it up, and I'm allowed to go in and do my thing. And they do a lot of great things for vets, too. If somebody's got a problem and you're on Cape Ann, if it deals with the VA, they know how to take care of it. So I'm able to be there. And I sat for months just practicing until Kevin came in and said, "What are you doing?" And I told him, well, when he went back over to meet with the folks in the office, they told him. And he came in, and we got the ball rolling.
So let me say, you're in a room, you're playing the guitar, strumming away. Karen's trying to have a meeting in the next room, and he's like, God, what is this music going on here? And he opens the door like Kramer and Seinfeld, slides on in and says, what the heck is going on here?
You got it.
and that's how that happened.
I wish I had the hair to be a Kramer.
Yeah, don't I know it?
Yeah, I saw him playing guitar, and he started talking about the program, and it's this is too good to be true. I mean, I can just say now, yes, I want to be a member. And he goes, yep, we signed some paperwork. Soon I had a guitar in my hand, And it's just amazing.
And had you played music before?
No, so it's kind of a twofer. It's like a huge benefit for veterans, period.
Yeah.
But also, I had never been involved in music before, nor would I have probably had the impetus to get involved. But for this, a new guitar came with an instructor. He didn't quite fit in the guitar case, but and then we had set up meetings, and so now we're starting to learn to talk the language of music, and just to hold a big old folk guitar, what a beautiful, elegant thing, period. And then to strum a few strings, beautiful right from the get-go.
That's great.
This whole thing is a great heartfelt story. Richard, anyone that's in the military all across the United States can find a chapter and join it?
If they don't have a chapter, they can go on the Soldier Songs and Voices website and start one.
Wow.
There's one that's just started up outside of Denver.
And that's pretty simple to find. That's just www.soldierssongsinvoices.com.
And I just want you to know the only reason John just said that is because he saw me going on the website, and I was just about to say it. And as my mouth started to open, I heard his voice. And I said, what the heck's going on here?
He's like a ventriloquist.
There's all kinds of information there. If you scroll down, you'll see that there's 3 chapters right now. Portland, Oregon, the national meeting in Fayetteville, Arkansas, that hold weekly Zoom songwriting seminars, workshops. And the other chapters are back to doing them live. Soldier Songs and Voices holds a Reveille retreat in Texas, which is where a bunch of singers and songwriters and members get together and spend time working on music. And this was my first one, and it was by Zoom. And just so you know, it's not a bunch of no-names that are teaching you. Vince Gill was one of the instructors.
Oh, wow. That's a workshop I'd like to be a part of, right?
You know, and there's a lot of other famous guys. And the guy that started it, Dustin Welch, is a singer-songwriter. And his father is a very notable singer-songwriter out of Nashville.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So that's some way that people get involved. If you're musical and you want to be, you can help teach the workshops, you can help teach songwriting, and you can also donate on the website as well. So it's a 501c3.
Yep.
So you can make a charitable gift and help them out there. There's monetary. Do you have any corporate sponsors and support?
Oh, yeah. There's
Excellent.
There's several of those. Most of them are listed on the website.
Excellent.
And there's other music groups that we kind of support each other.
That's good. That's awesome. Yeah.
Because we're all trying to do the same thing in different ways. And one of the guitars that I was given was from a widow. Her husband was in the Brown Water Navy in Vietnam, and it was something that he carried on the boat to play with his guys.
Oh, no kidding.
Right. And so one of his early tasks with a couple of the other guys was to write a song about the Brown guitar. I gave him the background, how I got it, and they went from there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so when you think about what that guitar did for him and his crewmates, and now it's pretty beat up. It's still playable. I have it playable. It's still helping.
Yeah, it's carrying on that legacy for him.
Right.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And I explain to guys when they come in, or girls, that a guitar is made up of a bunch of parts because you have to have those parts for it to work. But what a guitar is magic. And if you let it, it'll take you places that you didn't know you could go.
That's pretty profound, yeah.
You know, one of my favorite things a student told me is it had been maybe 4 months. He came home from work, a little frustrated, told his wife he's going to go upstairs and play for 10 minutes because that's all I ask of the students, 10 minutes a day. Well, he came downstairs and his dinner was cold because you let go of everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always say that it's part of mindfulness when you can start playing and it takes you away from all of the stuff that's going on inside. That's great. And if it's for 10 minutes, that's great because that's 10 minutes of relief.
Yeah. Yeah. Not everyone can find that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's important.
It's a great therapy, really.
It is. Yeah. There's a lot of research done on music and dancing, how they tend to help calm our brain, and they also help with other things. Because you'll find a lot of people that are very educated also play music.
You're not going to try to get me to dancing now, are you?
No. So, there's not a direct correlation between being a rocket scientist and being a guitar player, but it opens up the minds to patterns. And the patterns that we use in a guitar show themselves in baking and math and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I mean,
Yeah, that there is some correlation to, what you're saying. And I know when we had our kids in a Montessori school at a very young age, they require your kids in kindergarten to learn how to play either the piano, the violin, and there was one other instrument, I forget which one, but you also see when they start learning that music that young of an age, an increase in your math scores, your science scores, all their grades went up.
Interesting.
It's really incredible to see that. So yeah, I can only imagine, what it's doing for people that are conflicted and depressed and suffering, mental health issues after serving in the military and seeing things and going through things that leave scars. And those mental scars are very dangerous.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's really friendly, too.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, you can sink into the music, and it's safe and friendly as well as beautiful. So it's not just the music. It's like the whole feel of
Yeah.
the moment.
The environment it brings you in. Like you say, it's safe. And
Yeah.
for 10 minutes, even if you find that safety for 10 minutes and it gives you a release and the ability to relax when you've been dealing with what some of these guys have to deal with, it's nice to see them be able to find that. So must be very rewarding to be a part of that. Yeah.
And it's as rewarding for me to do this for them as it is for them.
Yeah.
Because I have to get prepped. I have to kind of figure out what they want to do, how they want to do it. And that makes me think about, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Then when we're all there doing it, I'm with them. I'm not with anybody else.
So tell me again, the way you stumbled into it, served in the military yourself.
Yes. Air Force, retired.
Air Force, retired, honorably discharged.
Yep.
Love that every minute of it. Former Air Force myself. But you were brought to it how?
Well, I had looked for one of the other organizations that provide a similar service. But I was at the mental health clinic at the VA in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And I watched three guys walk in with guitars. And, what are you guys doing? Where are you at?
Yeah, I would imagine the only time you expect to see three guys with guitars is as a band, right? I mean,
yeah. And in the mental health clinic. So as soon as I got done with my appointment, I went right up to where they were, and I got talking with a couple of the guys that do the management for that chapter, and I was in. There was no turning around for me. That was it.
Yeah, I also feel like it's a lifelong thing. Like as soon as I picked it up and was into it for a few minutes, I don't think I'll ever put it down.
that's incredible.
Doesn't mean I'm going to be great, but it means it's always going to be a fun, great place to.
It's a great outlet to be involved in. Good for you. Excellent.
Yeah.
And how many years have you been now?
Oh, let's see. That would have been 2016.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about things happening for a reason. That's
Yeah.
right time, right place, right atmosphere,
Yeah,
everything.
And like he said, when I walked in there, I knew I found my tribe
Yeah.
because I saw different guitars, different chords, and different experience levels, from guys that didn't know any of the parts to guys that could play professionally.
Wow.
Great.
And that's the important thing is it doesn't matter how you play, it's that you do play. And
Absolutely.
if you're willing to put in the woodshed time, then you get an awful lot out of it.
Pretty cool.
And a lot. Go ahead.
I was going to, so you teach them how to play the guitar, and that's nice. You hear that. But tell us about the journey and the process of the songwriting and what what you look for them to find through that process?
Well, that's their own process. What we try and do is allow them to tell their story their way. And it's difficult at times because you don't want to talk about it. Okay? I started all the way back to the first military funeral I was allowed to go to in the 60s at Arlington National Cemetery. And I have gone through the different stages of my military, and some I have a lot of words and some I have few. But each person needs to have a trust to be able to say, you know, I had to do this. And it haunts me every day. And that's where the process comes from. When they can say, I did this and this is what really disturbs me, then okay, well, let's talk about that. And if you have a conversation, you can get a lot going. But you have to be careful not to overstep, you know?
Yeah.
One of the chapters says, we're not doctors, we're not psychiatrists, we're not therapists, we're musicians here to help. But you still have to know, because of my feelings, I know where my point is, and I know how I start to act when I get there. And you can see that in other people.
Richard, you brought some music that's pre-recorded.
Yes.
And I think let's play one for our audience. What song would you like us to play?
This one is by Erica Vandenberg, and it's called Through the Door.
All right, let's listen to Erica Vandenberg, Through the Door, and she is part of Soldiers, Songs, and Voices.
Right. This was created during the Reveille retreat.
Finger off the trigger, plant your boots on the floor, stick close to the wall, count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. Blinding lightning flash, striking down to my core, thunder, rain, and brass, count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. I have faced my fears in the darkest room. I have rolled away the stone to find an empty tomb. The great unknown, I've been here before. Count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. Standing on the front porch, will they know me anymore? Fumble for my key, count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. On the other side, where your mind fights the war, hunting down the demons, count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. I have faced my fears in the darkest room. I have rolled away the stone to find an empty tomb. The great unknown, I've been here before. Count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. Deep breath through the door. Through the door.
Okay,
Come
so
right back.
what that's about is you don't hear a female talking very much about kicking through a door.
Right.
And that's what's there. And it's kind of haunting You know, he's kicked more than a few doors probably, and it's, you know, that has to be difficult. I've never kicked through a door, but I've dropped 15,000-pound bombs on people's heads. So, you know, the thing is, we're all the same. We all have the same stories, but it's different versions.
Yeah, right. Because everyone's experience is a little bit different, and everyone has, in the military, served in different functions, and
Right.
But the trauma that people can succumb to or be affected by is pretty broad.
And the writing part of it is so important. It's not always just that you're getting to spill it out on the page, but you're also getting sometimes to examine it for the first time in a real or different way, which can be another way of healing. I find writing lyrics. He mentioned the Old Brown Guitar song.
Yeah.
That was good. We got a lot of good writing out of that.
So when you sat down and the workshops, if they give you an assignment, do you go through the process of how a song's written and, you know, the layers of it and the actual structure before you hand out an assignment? Or do you start, you know, you teach them how to write a song, but through that process you're letting them, you know, start developing their themes as it happens?
Yeah, I find that we're always talking song structure. We're always talking rhythm,
Yeah.
melody, what's neat and different, what chords sound better together. You know, the 1-4-5,
Yeah.
the 1-3-5, things like that. So that's kind of always part of the language. And then you talk about it again if you're actually collaborating with somebody lyrically.
Pretty cool.
So, Kevin, again, how long have you been doing this?
Coming up on 2 years.
2 years. And how many songs have you successfully written?
Well, I have successfully written the lyrics to probably 4 or 5 songs, I would say. Now, bringing the music to bear onto the lyrics and making that all happen, that is an area I will continue with for the rest of my life.
Yeah, so it's interesting what you say because a lot of our guests, I mean, some of them are so multi-million albums, and we get chatting with these people, and some of them write the actual music first, and then the song idea will come to them. And you know, are on the other end, which, you know, a lot of people are also, of coming up with an idea.
The most efficient end.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to think about trying to bring all the music to the words. It's going to be better the other way, I think. But,
You know, you find, you know, I'm sure as you go through it, you find it very cathartic and you're exploring things that you may not want to think about sometimes.
Sure.
But you probably also visit some things that you had great times serving in the military and great times with friends and the brethren. And it brings up certain things, I'm sure, and conjures up the old times. Do you get to share that in song as well?
Absolutely. In fact, there was a song at the Reveille, which are really nice professional events. It was so much fun to dial into that. There was one song about a woman's experience in the military, and I ended up talking to her at length about it. And it was just all the neat, ordinary stuff that entails being career military.
Yeah.
And it turned into a great song. So, yes, it can be both. It can be the good, the bad, the interesting, and different.
Yeah. Has anyone ever written a song about, you know, folding your underwear into a 4-inch square? And
Well, I'll consider that a writing prompt.
If somebody he's a writer, he knows about AABB or ABAB. He understands those patterns. So he's kind of easy because he can get started, and as we talk, he just keeps writing and writing and writing. Other people that don't know any of that, I like to get the story going. Then I'll direct them to one of the groups that's online and have them do it. I can put basic chords. I can do that structure. I can help them. But if it needs to be polished, it needs to go to somebody else.
this is a nice topic. You know, we get to talk about what you're doing to help veterans, and we all have to give our veterans, you know, the kudos they deserve, and especially those that are suffering through the issues that come about with that service. So to be sitting here and talking musicians and beyond, and that's what we're doing. We're talking about music, talking about, you know, songwriting, talking about, you know, guitar playing, but it's the beyond part that really is great to be talking about today, and taking it songs and allowing that to be the voice and getting things out of a veteran's head is just I can't thank you guys enough for what you're doing there and for being a part of that.
Okay. Yeah. And it's not all doom and gloom.
Absolutely.
You know, Jim Hale out of the Northwest Arkansas group wrote a beautiful song. So this would be, do you want me to play some of it?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
let's do that.
So we're going to get a little treat here. He's got his guitar with him.
I don't know if me singing would constitute a treat.
Well, no matter how good or bad you are, you're better than me and Mark.
No doubt about that.
He's definitely better than me.
So how has it been for you? You're 2 years into this process, and
Yeah.
you've got a few songs that you've written. And do you take part in the workshops, or are you also helping to teach like Richard is now?
Oh no, I'm still a student, and happily so. I mean, there's so much to it.
Yeah.
And I like everything about it. I'm just not as talented as I want to be, which is probably a common problem. But when I see a folk guitar player in a cafe and watch how fast they change chords.
Oh, yeah.
That is my goal. When I can do that, if it takes 20 years, I want to get there because I know what to do next, but the fingers don't always arrive on time.
Well, when you check out our episodes, there's a kid, Kai Wilson, great folk guitarist, incredible performer. He sat in studio with us, and he's been out touring and doing shows. To watch him play the guitar is absolutely incredible.
It is something. Yeah. The one thing that has changed for me is that whenever I go to an environment where I see somebody playing guitar, I'm watching their hands now.
Yeah.
Instead of just looking around at everything else.
You're paying attention now to that aspect of it.
It's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
All right, this song was written by my friend Jim Hale at the Northwest Arkansas chapter of Soldier Songs and Voices. To me, when we talked about this, I just chuckled. My friends all have service dogs. You see them every day. They help us survive Walmart and down at the VA. In certain situations with people I don't know, with my best friend beside me, we're always good to go. Takes many months of training before they get certified. They're the best, they wear a vest, and they're always by our side. My service dog is a cat, don't even ask me why. He gets stoned on catnip and he thinks he can fly. All right, so Jim goes on to talk about that, his cat provides him the same service, but sadly he doesn't get a red vest. And, he calms him down by sleeping on his head. That's how his cat comforts him at night, But the cat will listen to his problems, but, he doesn't obey any commands. He won't play fetch or roll over or anything. So, it's that cat is what makes him happy. And Jim's story is really something. And he's a Vietnam veteran and all-around great guy. And he really believes in what Soldier Songs and Voices is doing. And as we age, we have to take in certain considerations because there's some chords that people with even mild disabilities can't make. So there's a lot of alternative chords, how to play an F, but you don't have to do a bar chord or how do you get into that F family and have that sound so that person can play it. And Jim can't play bar chords, and his hands won't let him. So we come up with other stuff.
That's pretty cool. Jim certainly can tell a story through his song, and that's a pretty funny one, you know.
Yes, it is.
I think if any cat owner can relate to the cat sleeping on top of your head when you...
That's a fact. I started SSV, and when I started thinking about events that caused me pain, whether it was or not with the military, I went back to my first memory of a military funeral at Arlington National Cemetery for a family friend. And it's hard for me to play. It's hard for me to do it in public like this. But I'll give it a shot. This song is called Life Was Wasted. Dark gray skies and freezing rain set the feeling for this day full of pain. We came for Brian, say goodbye. One by one we started to cry. A life was wasted, this we feel. Time cut short, almost unreal. Was it worth this painful cost? Have this boy's life lost for some stranger to be free? Doesn't seem right to you and me. I cry a tear for each drop he bled. I'll remember every word that he said. Make this his mark a monument, lasting tribute heaven sent. On bend knee I remember him. I hear his voice whisper to me. Makes me wonder why any young soldier has to die. Life was wasted, this we feel. Time cut short, almost unreal. Family and friends pay the price of our government's faraway fights. Now a mother hugs a flag while clutching his dog tag. Was it worth this painful cost? Have his boy's life lost for some stranger to be free? Doesn't seem right to you and me. A life was wasted, this we feel. Time cut short, almost unreal.
Wow, that was extremely heartfelt and very touching. Thanks for sharing that with us. That was Richard Clark from Soldiers, Songs, and Voices.
The Cape Ann chapter.
That's right. Yep.
Cape Ann chapter.
It was a very
So yeah,
good-
if any of our listeners are a veteran or know a veteran and they're interested in getting involved in this incredible organization, go to www.soldiersssongsandvoices.com and you can donate. You can donate an instrument. You can be part of the actual organization and learn how to sing and songwrite and play the guitar. And, they'll provide you with the guitar if you don't have one. So it's amazing what you guys really do. And thanks for bringing that service as well as your military service in the past to America.
Yeah, Richard told the story of one of the guitars that was donated by the wife of a soldier who passed. And if you have a story like that and you have a guitar like that, then this is a group that you should feel very good about donating it to. And if you don't have a story like that and you have a guitar that you want to donate or an instrument that you want to donate, this is the place to do it. You don't all have to have that touching story. You just know that by donating the guitar and giving an instrument to them, they will put it in the hands of someone that absolutely needs it, and it'll do some good. So find that guitar in the closet, in the back, in the basement, and or up in the attic, and get it out of your house and get it in their hands, please.
I'll clean it up, I'll repair it, and I'll get it in the hands of a veteran.
That's awesome.
It is amazing.
So now we've had music. We've talked about the beyond part here, and we've talked about songwriting. Richard, when you got into it, how long before you started running your own chapter and your own classes?
Oh, that was 4 years.
Okay. And who did you learn the process from when you joined a chapter?
From Lee Height and Jim Hale.
Okay.
And BR, and the other guys that are there. Larry Long. Each one of them showed me a different aspect. Most of what I was doing there was teaching the very basics. This is a guitar, this is a neck, these are what the strings are called. But every day I got to go back into the main room where they had the song circle, and I could watch guys. And I could see how these guys that had been doing it for a long time were dealing with the people that hadn't been. And it was really interesting because each student is different. We're all different. We have different needs, different thought process. And watching them, how they did it was pretty fascinating.
That's pretty cool. So if you're up in the Gloucester area, Cape Ann area, Richard has the chapter up there, and if you're a veteran or active military and you want to join, get in touch with them, get up there and take part in it. And if you're someone that wants to start a chapter, go to their website and take a look around and see what can be done, because the more chapters that are grown out there, and then the more people are going to be able to gain the benefit from this, and it means you're going to help someone. So get involved. Join the group, and let's see if we can get a chapter started somewhere elsewhere in Massachusetts and in New England.
Yeah,
That would be great.
This has been absolutely fantastic. Richard, before we say goodbye, would you like to play us one more song?
No, sir. I think I'm done for the day.
You're done for the day. What about handing that guitar over to Kevin? Kevin? No?
I'm not ready for prime time yet.
All right.
But I will be someday.
So we're not going to get a song, but tell me a story about one of the songs that you've written and what that's done for you.
Well, the song about the old brown guitar, the song I wrote for that, I cleverly named it Old Brown Guitar. And what was interesting about it was going through the lyrics, I had to think about this guy's life. And I think Richard already mentioned it, but this guy had a lot of guitars come in and out of his life.
No, I didn't.
But when he died, this was the only guitar he had left. And it was one he got early in his life in Vietnam. So the song is about what that must have meant to him in Vietnam. And you can picture him sitting on a stack of sandbags, maybe during some night quiet break, playing for his friends. And it was about the unfolding of those kind of moments for him. And then it goes to the end of his life, and that guitar is still his best friend. And that's sort of the arc of the story. But just imagining that gave me a lot of respect for what other generations of soldiers have done, and respect for music in general, of course.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, this has been quite a heart-touching episode, Mark.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I wonder if the first chapter was somewhere out and long ago when the Star Spangled Banner was written.
Yes.
So, thank you for coming in and sharing the stories, and thank you for the work you're doing for everyone, all the veterans that need the support and the services. So,
More song I'd like to tell you about, and that's by Gary Walter, and it's The Soldier's Lament. And that's all I'm going to say about it. If you listen to it, any GI that listens to it, regardless of the branch of service, will relate.
excellent. Well, we're going to listen to that, and We are looking forward to it, and we're going to let our audience hear that song as we head on out the door and close episode number 50.
We're combat action figures. We're combat action toys used by politicians for their schemes and in their ploys. They send us off to foreign places where they would never go. They talk from both their faces, sit back and watch the show. They start great conflagrations, send us to kill and destroy. They mask their true intentions. This is not a game of boys. Life is never easy. It's always much the same. Fight through the hard times. Try to live with all the pain. We come back bent and broken. We come back frayed and torn. We went to do our duty, volunteered, were duly sworn. They promised us safe haven upon our long return. Now they give empty excuses. They delay as our spirits burn. Life is never easy, always much the same. Fight through the hard times, try to live with all the pain. We're combat action figures. We're combat action toys. We're used by politicians for their schemes and in their ploys.
So this is great having Kevin Perrin and Richard Clark in from Soldiers, Songs, and Voices.
Yeah, absolutely a wonderful treat to have you guys here. And again, we can't thank you enough for what you're doing out there for the service members and for the veterans. And we can't thank you enough for coming in. And we like to think that everyone that comes into the studio and has a conversation, it starts a longer conversation, a deeper conversation, and it also starts a friendship. So we like to think that coming in today, we want to thank you for being our friends. And we look forward to hearing more about this and seeing if we can't help support it and drive it a little bit further down the road.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Much appreciated.